Another question I had about Miss Stark's Victim, just because I'm curious, being Authoress Anon for so long, and now you're out and you're promoting the book, and you've had this incredible history of being part of the author community. Is there, do you have any regrets about having been anonymous first? Do you wish it had always been JillianBoehme.com? Or stormrise.com if you had known back that many years that's what you needed.
Yeah. Yeah, who knew? I really don't have any regrets because my initial vision was for it to be an anonymous, safe place where people could share their work and didn't have to share their names. And I also felt like it was good for me to separate a lot of the things about my personal life from how I was branding myself online as an author and as a part of the writing community. I never talked about my kids. The only thing I made clear as authoress was that I was married. I called him Mr. A, and he loved that, actually. So everyone knew I was married, but they didn't know where I lived or that I had children. And I really am glad I did it that way. And actually then when I finally had my big reveal of who I was, the support blew me away. People were incredibly kind and incredibly excited. You know, it's not like I'm some secret celebrity and, oh, wow, it's her. And like, I'm just nobody. I'm just, I'm just telling you who my name is. And people just make you feel so great, and that's just the writing community. I mean, I think that's almost always true about the writing community. So.
Well, on behalf of the writing community I've been a part of, thank you. For years and years, it's good to finally have a place to put all this love we've had for Authoress Anon, all these years, for all the wonderful things you've done for the writing community. And what kept you doing those things? Because that's time away from the kids, that's time away from your own writing. I know it has to be thrilling to host those first few contests, maybe even 20 contests. That was exciting. But to continue to do that, there has to be a point of diminishing returns where it's less exciting.
There were. In fact, during my heyday, I was running 10 secret agent contests a year. I was taking June and December off. And so I was always preparing for the next one and always looking ahead to schedule the next agent and writing the emails and searching for new agents to invite. And so there was a lot of work involved that wasn't even writing work. And then I started the Baker's Dozen that we started up in December. I think the first one of those was in 2010. And that was a huge hit. And so I kept doing that, which was very time intensive because I had to read all of those entries and choose what I thought was the best to enter the auction. So that was a real time suck. And
did you ever invite people in to help you, or that would have betrayed your anonymous identity?
For those 5 Baker's Dozen contests, Jody Meadows did help me to go through those entries. So it actually ended up being fun, but still a lot of time. And after the first Baker's Dozen contest, several of my writing friends contacted me privately and said, you should really charge a little something for this. You're putting a lot of time into it. I've never wanted to monetize the blog, so that was hard for me to listen to. But sometimes when more than one person is giving you the same advice, it's usually time to pay attention. So I did, and I instituted a small fee. And for the most part, people didn't even complain about it. And I was like, oh, what was I worried about? I was worried that I didn't want people to think I just wanted to make money off them, because that was never my intention. But it did make a difference with the hugeness of that contest. And so I was able to pay Jody a little money. I was able to pay our developer a little money, because that's the other thing that made running the blog much easier, was the automated system and the bot. His name is Michael, and he is fantastic. He had a desire to give back to the blog, and he offered to create an automated system for submissions, and in a bot that could take a whole lot of entries and then make it into a lottery, so that people wouldn't have to sit by their computers and wait for 9 o'clock, which is what was happening. These contests were filling up in like 15 minutes. And then people were getting upset because they didn't get a chance because they were on the West Coast or whatever. So he made my life so much easier. I could just go click and it would just run And my goodness, that just changed everything. So, yeah.
I think I was talking to Laura Martin the last time she was on. Was talking about one of her earlier memories was stopping on the side of the road because she had to go to some event for her kids, but she had to hit the button on Miss Snark's First Victim at exactly 9 o'clock to get her contest entry out.
Oh gosh, yeah.
That's been a big deal for a lot of you. So let's talk for people who want to be the next Miss Snark's First Victim. Forget it. The position's filled. we have all we need. But for those people that want to be as successful as you have been online in creating content and creating a brand, what tips would you have for them? What's helped you do that?
You need to decide ahead of time what it is you want to be or who it is you want to be, and then don't veer from it. And I'm not an expert on this at all. This is just something that kind of happened organically. And for me, I think what made my Authoress brand successful is that I was never trying to be anybody I really wasn't. I was actually myself with a mask on. So my sense of humor, the things that were important to me, I was really honest about. My responses to things were very genuine. And so that because I always had in the back of my head that someday, I'll have a book and someday I can tell these people who I am and what my name is. I didn't want there to be some kind of weird paradigm shift between Authoress and Jillian Boehme, because I just am who I am. And I think that because I was just myself with all my quirkiness or whatever, I think that helps people feel safe. They feel like they can trust you. They feel like they want to be a part of the community. And I think that's the best thing that we can all offer to any community. So when you're branding yourself as an author or as whatever you're branding yourself as, I think it's really important to be yourself and just be yourself within your brand. So for me, I was an aspiring author. I wrote YA, fantasy, and sci-fi. And I was on this particular trajectory of my journey, and I was wanting to share what I've learned and also share my personal journey with other writers. And my goal was to encourage and build community. And so I did that, but I was still myself. So I think it all comes back to just be who you are.
Even so, was there a moment of terror when you knew it was finally time to reveal yourself? There was going to be somebody out there going, I thought you'd be taller or whatever.
I mean, it was terrifying. It was really scary. It really was. Even knowing what a wonderful community the writing community is, it was very scary. You just feel like, the emperor's new clothes. He's walking out with nothing on. Here, you're just exposed. And yeah, you just don't know. You can't be sure. Is somebody going to hate on me? Is this going to be awkward? Am I going? And of course, people were wonderful, and of course they were. But when you're nervous about something, you forget sometimes that people are actually wonderful.
For the most part.
For the most part. On a good day.
I refuse to believe you've run that site for so many years and not encountered trolls.
Oh no. I could tell you troll stories, but we won't waste time with those.